the channel, keep your head cut the fix up. With some Xbox shop. See, I don't get it mixed up. Peace kid, I'm being the new. I put them out prepared now. We play on expert level, don't be scared now. I'm the father I can tear down. To the channel, keep your head down.
Good evening. That was my best. I forgot his name right now.
Wasn't that good then?
What's dude's name? He was like, "Good evening."
Dracula.
Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it. Yeah, that's it. What's up, everybody? Thank you all for being here tonight and joining us on the fix. It is myself. Yeah, HH said Count Dracula too.
I mean, look.
I want to suck your blood.
Honestly, you told me that you went to the dentist. That's how I thought you were gonna sound today. So.
Yeah, guys, I went to the dentist and got this old molar of mine removed. I feel empty mouthed right now, but I feel much better because I had like a throbbing headache popping on the side of my right side of my face for the past week, and I have been taking like ibuprofen or whatever to calm it down all this time. So finally that's out of the way. But anyway, thank you guys for being here tonight. You're with myself, Infinite Umbra, and my illustrious co-star co-host, Daniel J. McGee.
Hello, hello.
Yes, we have a lot of good things happening tonight. I will be doing a wheel spin at random twice tonight because of our great community member and friend Felix, who was going to donate 2 copies of Dragon Age the Veilguard to the lucky winners of this random spin. Good luck to everybody who has entered. If you all are still on Twitter trying to enter now, it is too late. I've already added the last person and it's closed now. But good luck to everybody. I believe it's a good maybe 100 or some odd people to enter. So it's tough odds, but it's not unfair odds at the very least. It's 2 copies out there. I felt kind of bad. I almost wanted to buy one myself. So I am actually going to do that. So you all have a third chance tomorrow night on the Infinite podcast with myself, Risk It, that blue number, and Dante Spriggan, if you will. I'm going to give a copy away there as well. I'm not sure how I'll handle it, but I'll figure it out. So I'm going to buy a copy for whatever platform of choice as well tomorrow on the Infinite podcast. So you guys be sure to tune in to that as well. But tonight we have 2 copies, and everybody who has entered, you're already entered into the Infinite podcast, Sword Domo. That's if you go to Risk It for the Biscuit on Twitter, you will find his page, and you can go to his channel from there to YouTube to subscribe and maybe set a reminder or something like. Well, he doesn't have it up yet, so you can't set a reminder, but you get the gist. Yeah, Risk It, RISKIT, the number 4, the Biscuit, BISKIT. He spelled it very stupidly. I'm sorry, but that's it. Anyway, yeah. So 2 copies tonight, 1 tomorrow. You all have some chances here. Good luck to everybody. I want to thank everybody for entering into the contest and for subscribing. And there's Felix there. Hey, thank you again, Felix. Yeah. So I guess we'll move on to just basic housekeeping. Danny, what have you been up to, my man? What have you been doing, playing, and what have you been up to?
Not a ton. Actually, let me check my app that I keep track of these things on. I started playing Metaphor, but I didn't get super far. I'm gonna go back to it, but I jumped off it to do the Call of Duty campaign because it's really short. So I was like, oh, I can just do that real fast and, you know, get through it for conversation process like purposes.
Yeah.
I'm only, God, I don't know, like 4 missions in or something. I just did the one where you get a guy out of the basement. I'm not gonna do more spoilers than that, but if you played it, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's like pretty early on.
Okay. I've only done one mission so far, and I kind of roamed around in the house and built up a little, you know, practice area or whatever. That was about it for me.
Yeah, I did spend kind of a lot of time walking around that mansion. There's some like secrets and stuff that you can do there. So
I saw that with the black light. I didn't know how I'm supposed to unlock something. I'm pretty sure because you got the black light and
yeah. It's basically an escape room, which not to brag, I'm pretty good at. So
I love escape rooms, by the way.
They're a lot of fun.
They are. But yeah, that's cool, man. I looked up. I'm like, oh, look at the little black light numbers and stuff. I'm like, how do I figure this out? And I'm like, I'll do it another time.
Yeah.
But so how so far, how are you liking the campaign?
You know, I haven't played a Call of Duty, anything, campaign or multiplayer in so long that I'm not the person to tell you like if it's better than previous ones. But what I can tell you is this one's pretty good. Like I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a lot of fun. It feels weird because I'm like I think the last one that I seriously played was like Modern Warfare 2. Like it's far back. Like I played others between there, but that was the last one that I like sincerely played and like got really deep in multiplayer and everything. And so my brain is being sent like that far back in time, and I'm like, this is kind of the same but kind of not, and it's honestly throwing me off a little bit. So it's weird, but it is really good.
Okay. Yeah, well, from what I've played so far, I will say it does have a bit of that kind of Michael Bay-esque energy going for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of explosions.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what you mean.
Yeah, it's that, and it's also got kind of the dialogue a little bit that's kind of like, yeah, do it, blow them up, yeah. And it's like, all right.
Yeah, there's definitely an aspect of it where I'm like, this is Black Ops 6, and all of these characters have had a full story, and I do not know what it is.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know what's going on. These guys got beef. I don't know why.
I was told actually to go back and play Cold War. So
yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to.
Right. Yeah, I was told to go do that first. I might just watch like the history of it, or maybe like I'm sure there's a clip or something on YouTube or something put together to show the whole story.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe I might do that. Same thing. Yeah. Go ahead.
There's a story so far video for Black Ops 6 that I saw, but I didn't actually watch it. But it was only like 6 minutes long, so they probably just say like the most important things.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why this guy's in a wheelchair. Oh, cool.
He's missing his legs because of this.
Because the world exploded.
Right. No, from what I've seen, it looks really good. I don't know. I wonder though, like what visually looks better to me, this or like Modern Warfare, the remake, remaster, or whatever. Remake.
I tell you, never touched it.
I'm kind of tempted to say Modern Warfare remake is better looking, but I have more to play in this before I can actually judge. They both look really good.
I see the gameplay you put up, and I have also, since the last time we talked, finished the Shattered Space DLC.
Nice. What's your score for it now?
For just the DLC, I'd give it a 9. For the whole game, probably an 8.5.
Okay, and that's including the DLC.
I think the DLC is better than the base game. I think it elevates what that base game is.
Okay, all right.
But it's really, really good. Really, really good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. For me, I think I said it was a 7.5 for me.
Something like that.
Yeah. So like I enjoyed it. I mean, a 7.5 is good, and if I'm giving it a 0.5, I'm saying it's really good. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I just didn't think it was like anything monumental. But it had been a while since I had gone to the game, so for me, I was just experiencing the Rev 8 and stuff like that. So a lot of that added to it. Yeah.
That was true for me too, and then also because I the last thing that I had done on my save file was go through the Unity, so I had to like catch up a bunch of stuff
Right.
to get to a point where I could play it.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, playing back through some of the like side missions and the specifically the Freestar Ranger whatever story arc, I was like, you know what, this is better than I thought it was actually. Like these characters are more interesting when I'm taking the time and just like actually talking to them instead of just like trying to finish this game.
Yeah. I will say, like, sometimes it does feel like that too. Like when you play and you kind of just skip through, which I imagine that most of the reviewers kind of playing these types of games kind of do that.
Yeah, I feel like to an extent, as a reviewer, you kind of have to. So I don't hold it against them, but it does definitely detract from the game, especially a game that's like so clearly about talking to people and finding out like the lore of the world and who these characters are. If you're just like rushing through and skipping dialogue and all that stuff, like you're not gonna enjoy it because you're not gonna know who any of these people are.
That's true.
Like I've heard people talk like at ends on podcasts and stuff about like, oh, these companions are really boring, and I was like, did you talk to them? Because like maybe Sarah's a little boring, Barrett's kind of okay, but Sam and Andreja, they're some of the best companions Bethesda has made. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know like where this opinion is coming from. It must be from people who just like were trying to finish it as fast as possible to get a review up.
I like them all. You know what was the brother's name? I forgot his name. Barrett was cool.
He's okay.
He was cool, but Sarah was funny to me because I had her as my mainstay, and I wifed her up and everything, even though even though I left her behind when I went through Unity. I felt kind of bad about that though, because like I felt this is one of the rare games where I felt lost, because when I went, you know what I mean? Like I went through it and you're like, okay, I can't go back, like that's over with, right? And so I felt a little kind of sad, like, oh damn, that universe is over with for me. I can't go back to that universe. So that was very unique, and I kind of understood how the hunter could become so detached. It started to sink in once you go through the Unity so many times. You kind of like, I don't care about this universe I'm in now, right?
Yeah, these aren't even my versions of these guys.
Yeah, these are not my people. I don't care about you. So that I noticed that, and I was like, okay, that's kind of unique. I like that in a sense. So it's really weighty. It's a really weighty decision to choose to go through there or not. I found at the end of the day, and I lost so much stuff. All the ships and stuff I've had is all gone. I'm like, all those ships I made, but and I'm not doing it over. So it is what it is.
I do kind of wish that like every time you went through the Unity, you could pick like one or two things to take with you.
Yeah, I think on PC
then,
they got something like that, like some type.
I'm sure there's a mod for it.
Yeah,
but like I wish that it was like every time you went through, you could pick two new things. So the two things you picked the first time would still come. So if you were like, I want to bring this armor and this ship or whatever,
right?
So the next time you could pick two more, and you'd have four. And then by the time you got to like new game 10, you'd have your full
armada,
your full set like decked out.
Yeah.
But I don't know that you would even really want to do that with guns or armor, because every time I've gone through the Unity, I've basically like the next thing I picked up has been better than the thing I was wearing before. So
yeah,
it's one of those situations.
Yeah, for sure. My major complaint again was that I just want them to modernize the gameplay style of their games. Just the lack of actual like set pieces where something major is happening outside of that one moment with that that big alien. I forgot the name of it again.
Yeah, I went back and replayed that part, and it's not cinematic, so I actually don't know what you're talking about.
It felt
like
cinematic.
It feels cinematic,
right?
but
yeah.
it doesn't like take the camera away or like do a cutscene or anything.
It doesn't.
Like there's definitely moments in Shattered Space that are as cinematic as that.
The only part I could think of in the Shattered Space that felt like that was when you fire off the beam to that main study where the bubble was at or whatever to dissipate that. That's the only part I can really think of. But like I really want them to kind of modernize their approach when it comes to that. That's really it for me. I think it would help elevate like the whole just zoom into the character talking to you thing is kind of played out. I'm just gonna be honest. Yeah. It's just kind of weird.
Shattered Space I think is the only part of that game that has like a strict cutscene. Like that's the only time I can see where it like has taken the camera away and done a cutscene, because it does one when the tower like disintegrates or whatever at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's the only time that I can think of where it's like, here's a cutscene.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I can remember, at least. Yeah. But anyway, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
As far as myself, I had been playing more of Metaphor. I beat it already. Loved it. It has replaced Black Myth Wukong as my game of the year. I didn't believe it would, but it did. I have 146 hours into that now. I'm on New Game Plus, playing through it again, and yeah, man, I love it. It's one of those things. It's weird because now I have Dragon Age to get through as well. So now I'm gonna have to try to split time between those and do what I have to do. But yeah, loving Metaphor, just really solid. Story was really well done overall. Characters
I'm so early in it.
Yeah.
I've just now gotten to like, I don't even think I'm done with what was in the demo yet. Like, I got up to a point where they're like, we're gonna go into this mine, and then I was like, okay, well, I gotta go to work, and it's been a week, so
right. Yeah, but other than that, I did, of course, play a bit of Black Ops, just the first mission, really. So I'm going to get more into that too. And like you said, since it's not that long of a campaign, get through that, wrap that up. But yeah, man, you know what? Let's move to the news roundup, because we do have to get through this quicker tonight, guys. We're trying to get out of here. It's Halloween, so Danny has things to do.
Your mouth is bleeding.
My mouth is bleeding.
So I mean, between those two things, we got to get this over with. But listen, again, I want to thank you all for being here. If you all have not done so, hit that like button for us, because I see a good amount of people in the chat, and the likes are not exactly matching. I think they would be more willing to hit it if you said it the way that Dirk Rickety says it.
Hit the like button.
There you go. That's what I needed. That's what I needed today.
That's the energy.
Yeah.
So we're going to move to the news roundup, guys.
So I'm glad that we just did that. Like, that's just become a thing. Because it used to be, I got to make a jingle for this, and then we just didn't.
Right.
Anyway, so I've kind of only pulled like some of the bigger ones because we are trying to go a little bit faster, but I think the biggest news of the week that isn't our main topic is hey, PlayStation closed down two more studios, I guess I should say. They shut down Neon Koi, which I don't think a lot of people had heard of, but it was a mobile studio that had like just started, and I don't think had put out a game before. Like, I think they were working on some mobile action game is what was announced. Can't remember if they've put out anything in the past. Don't think they have. But they're closed, as well as Firewalk, the makers of course, Concord, which I feel like we all saw this coming, unfortunately. Not that makes it suck any less, but between the two studios, that's 210 people unemployed. And this makes the 6th studio that PlayStation has shut down this generation.
Wow.
Yeah,
Somebody made a tweet. They said, PlayStation, or Sony rather, has closed more studios than they've released games this year. I was like, ouch. First party.
They've closed more studios than they've released first party games this generation, and that's not a joke.
Oh wow, is that actual factuals, huh?
It's pretty close.
Sheesh. King Webb said the fall of PlayStation begins.
It gets a little muddy because like some of the games that they released weren't first party at the time they released, and they are now. Like, they bought Housemarque after the fact.
Right.
So that would throw it off. But yeah. I mean, it's only been 4 years, and the last two they've released. This year they released one. Last year they released one. So.
Wow. Yeah, they do
I'm
a
not
good
counting MLB The Show. I guess if we count MLB The Show, then no.
Well, I mean, you could say it's first party, but it's still not exclusive either.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll give them to them. I'll just have them.
Anyway, the point is, a lot of studios have been shut down.
Yeah.
They shut down this generation. They've shut down London studio, Pixel Opus, Japan studio, Manchester studio, and now these two. At this point, I'm fairly concerned about like any studio over there that makes smaller games or VR titles. Like, I think they still have Fire Sprite, I think, is the other VR one, and I'm like relatively concerned for their well-being because I don't think PSVR is like going to be a thing. I think the best case scenario for them is they become a support studio. Yeah. And the worst case scenario is this.
100%. And listen, we all called this. Many of us did. Of course, it was pretty obvious once we heard about the $200 million plus loss which turned out to be fairly accurate according to sources closer to the firewalk. So Colin Moriarty was right about that. A lot of people tried to write him off. Oh, the game didn't cost that much, blah, blah, blah. It absolutely.
Absolute buttload.
Yeah, it absolutely did cost that much, apparently. So credit to him. But yeah, man, none of us, or at least none of us normal people, want to celebrate these people losing their jobs and things like
absolutely
that.
Not.
It's so weird, though, because, and that's why I said normal people, because I was on Twitter the other day, and I went to their main tweet about it, Firewalk, and I just tried to show a little compassion, a little grace. I mean, I couldn't care less. I didn't want to play the game, so it's not like it hurt me that it existed or whatever. I just had no interest in it, and I'm just like, hey, I'm sure I speak for many people. I didn't say all, I just said many. I'm sure there are many good people who feel the same. And yeah, we're normal, K. I just said, hey, hope you guys land on your feet for those who affected and such. And that was really it. Do you know I had so many of these anti-DEI, anti-woke people jumped into that thread and were just trashing me nonstop.
Dude, why? You didn't make the game.
I don't know. They were like, no, you don't speak for me. I said, well, I don't even know who you are. I'm not talking about you.
Just fully Thanos. I don't even know.
Right. I don't even know who you are. And I mean, they started going on rants. Some started being racist. Some started being bigoted. Right. Exactly. And
shocking that those two things would go hand in hand.
So close to each other, twined together, right? And I noticed that, by the way. I was looking, I'm like, I've noticed the more I see these anti-woke, as they like to say, people, the more I've noticed they're just racist and bigots, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it's bared fruit because it's bared to be true in my experience, because you go back and forth with them long enough, then the slurs start to fly out. I've noticed. So I do it to test it. And after a minute, I just started mocking them and trashing them. Right. They were like, oh, you care. Look at you. What? You must be the LGBT community. I'm like, because I wish them grace.
Look, I'm sorry that I want these people to have jobs.
Right. How dare I? Oh, you must be gay. And why are people still trying to use that as an insult? I don't know. It's like, come on, now. This is 2024, almost 2025. Damn.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Move past
at that point, I'd just be like, yeah, dude. Like, yeah, man, I am, and you're looking good. Does that make you uncomfortable?
They might
scoot
block
a little
me.
Closer, big boy.
They're gonna block me after that one. But
I mean, honestly, good.
Right.
Frankly,
what's funny is they do all that. I'll trash them and then I'll mute them, and they're probably still going back and forth thinking they're talking. I'm seeing their messages and I don't see them anymore.
Oh yeah.
So
that's my favorite thing, because I won't block people, really. I'll just mute them, because I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to see your dumb takes, but
right.
I don't mind the engagement. Like, go ahead and say your dumb nonsense.
Right.
Social media is a trash fire anyway.
It's just weird, man. A bigot, Abdel, is somebody who's hateful towards, like, how do I put this? Well, it has a lot to do with prejudice too, so it's kind of intermixed.
Yeah, a bigot is somebody. It's like a catch-all term for, like, racist, homophobic, whatever. Being a bigot means that you are prejudiced to a group of people because of a single quality about them, like being black or being gay.
Right.
It's just like a catch-all term for all of those.
Yeah, it's a catch-all term, more or less. I kind of I don't know why I do it, but I tend to separate that from racism. But bigot kind of fits it too, to be fair. So either way, but it's just being against a particular group, more or less, having hate toward a particular group. That's really what it is. But yeah, it's just unnecessary. It's just so unnecessary for me. That's why I look at people. I'm like, why are you so mad about this? Like, why? Let's say that the game is woke, right? And we know what some people don't mean it the way that. And that's why I say people want to have to put down or draw a line in the sand between their idea of woke and what these extremists think is of woke, because you all are being put together in the same group, and it's not a good look. And there's some people who are well-meaning when they say woke, and they just don't like agendas, for instance. right? And what they feel are agendas. And then there are some who are extremists. They're like, oh no, we don't want anyone gay in a game. We don't want anyone black in a game. That's the opposite of what some of you all feel. And so I say you all gonna have to separate.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find a way to get away from those people because they're making you look bad, frankly.
Really, they really are, and it's just not a good look. But listen, I don't want to keep going back and forth on that tirade of that. I just noticed that it's just sad to me that you can't even wish people well without people being upset at it. Like Twitter has turned into a hell app. It really has, man. It's just so unnecessary, the anger I've noticed on this thing. But that aside, it seems to be the case that we're always saying this every other month now. But again, to Firewalk Studio employees, devs, and people who have been affected, of course, our heart goes out to you guys. I personally, and I know Danny wishes you guys well.
Of course.
But of course, as that guy told me, I can't speak for him. So I won't speak for anybody else. But, I hope these guys land on their feet. I don't know. Some people were like, well, there's a few devs that were like calling people names when they were saying stuff to them and called them something. I'm like, okay. But they were being harassed. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you lash out. It wasn't professional, sure. I'm also not going to like hold them to account of saying some rude stuff to people who were being rude to them. I don't care. To be like, oh, don't you say anything back. No. F those people. Sorry. I'm not sorry. But whatever. Anyway, that aside, what else did we have, Danny?
Well, in other negative news for PlayStation, I guess, the creative director for Wolverine has quit and switched over to being the creative director over at Xbox for Perfect Dark.
Xbox Horton, here's a who. Brian Horton.
Brian Horton, yeah. It's weird because I've definitely seen a lot of people online try and be like, oh my god, this is terrible for Perfect Dark because now they've got a new guy, and it's like, okay, sure, yeah, they hired a guy, so I don't understand how that's going to throw them off. Whereas Wolverine is now being led by the people who made Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah,
which is like a good game, but it's not the type of game that you would want associated with, gritty. Yeah. Lumberjack Wolverine.
Yeah, bub. But no, like I think it's a good move for Xbox for sure. I mean, it did make me think though, like how well along is what you call it, Joanna Dark?
It's Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark. I'm thinking of the main character. How far along is Perfect Dark when you're bringing him in as guess what, creative director or whatever?
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like everything we've heard about it is that it is like pretty much done. Like we're expecting it by 2026, right? So we're looking at like a year and a half left on development there. So I think maybe it's a situation where like he's being brought in, but he's really probably mostly working on whatever the next project is. That would be my assumption. Because also you have to keep in mind that Perfect Dark is being largely made by Crystal and not in the initiative itself.
I see. That makes some sense. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And Crystal Dynamics, and that's a return home for him, by the way, because he was with them in the past as creative and art director for like Tomb Raider games. Yeah.
Oh, over at Crystal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is a return home.
I'm really hoping that Crystal Dynamics doesn't get shut down in the great screw up of Embracer.
The great close down migration of 2024. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I still hope that Xbox, Microsoft scoops them up. Although I don't know how well that will last for them either nowadays. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of talent there. I still honestly believe Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raider games are as good, if not better, than the Uncharted games. Being 100%.
They're definitely better than. Oh God, which one was it? The one where it's you go to like the tree of like the Norse tree. Whichever of the Uncharted that is, it's been a while since I played it. They're definitely better than that one. That one sucked ass.
Is that part 3?
I don't know. I want to say 3 was the desert one, but
3
I don't.
Was the
it's
desert
been a
one.
minute.
Yeah. It might be
because there was
the newer one on
zombies
PS4.
in South America, zombies on the mountain, and then zombies in the desert. Those were the 3 Uncharted movies or games.
zombies in the movie.
Because they all end that way. Like every single Uncharted game. I didn't play 4, to be fair.
Okay.
But the first 3 Uncharted games go. There's an ancient artifact. We gotta go find it. Oh no, it was hidden for a reason because it makes zombies. All 3 of them.
You know what? I never even thought about that.
Because there's
I never
what is
even
it?
thought
El
about
Dorado turns people into zombies. The second one is like the sap from the tree turns you into a blue zombie, and the third one is like it's poison that makes you see zombies, which is technically not making zombies, but I'm counting it.
Wow. You know, I never thought about that.
Yeah, they're all basically the same game, but it's just in
Wow.
different exciting locales, which is like fine, but it just becomes kind of shallow when you notice it.
I would say, of course, Uncharted 2 is the best in the series. But if I had to compare them, you know, the remake or the reboot of Tomb Raider, I think were just better made games overall. Uncharted 2 would stand the test of time with them, I would say. But other than that one, most of them would be outdone by the Tomb Raider games, in my opinion. But yeah. But hey, listen, Brian Horton going over there, I think is a positive. He's got a great career sheet, if you will, of what he's done and worked on. Here's to hoping that, you know, Perfect Dark turns out well. I just wonder, again, how long it's going to take for that game. It's the same thing I felt when we saw Fable. It was like, oh, we're hiring for this person at a major position. It's like, wait a minute. How far along is the game? You just hiring for this person now? So I don't know how it's going to work. But like you said, if it's a matter of them actually working on other projects, then it makes more sense too.
Mm-hmm. So I just ran the numbers on it here because I was curious. Because I said that thing about them closing more studios than them putting out first party games, and I felt pretty strong about it. And it turns out that it's not more, it's the same number.
Oh wow! They've closed as many games as they put out.
If you don't count,
studios, should I say, as they put out games.
Yeah, if you don't count second party titles, re-releases, or MLB The Show, then they've put out 6 games this generation so far, and that's Miles Morales, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Forbidden West, God of War, Ragnarok, Concord, and Astro Bot. Because they've put out other games that are from studios that are now first party, but at the time they released them, they weren't first party, which is like a gray area. So like someone could attack me on that one, and I don't really care. Like leave your comment. But the fact that it's even that close, like even if you add those two, like that's insane.
That is pretty crazy. You know, speaking of Astro, now that you mention it,
yeah.
If you all have been playing Astro, they released the DLC for it today.
For the like speed running levels.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine wanting to play more of that game.
Oh yeah,
I cannot physically imagine wanting to touch that controller again.
Well, you get
my life.
You get to go back and see the graveyard of IP.
I love that. Yeah, I love visiting my friends in
purgatory.
Yeah. My favorite thing.
Yeah. What else do we have, man?
Well, it's a very anti-PlayStation, pro-Xbox news week, unfortunately, for our looking bipartisan here. But Xbox just had their best quarter ever. Oops.
Nice.
So their gaming revenue is up 43%, making $5.6 billion. Their content and services is up 61% to $5.09 billion. They set a new Q1 record for total revenue and revenue per subscriber in Game Pass, as well as a new record for monthly active users and Game Pass subscribers. And the only negative is that hardware is still down 29%, although they cite continuing economic issues for that, which is fair because I work in retail and people just they're just not buying the way they were last year. So
yeah, not
really a whole lot they can do about that.
Yeah, I know that Call of Duty is carrying a lot of the weight right now, ABK in general.
Well, I'm not sure where the cutoff for that quarter would have been, but I don't think Call of Duty would have been out yet. They would have probably started getting subscribers to Game Pass for it, like in the lead up, but it wouldn't have included Call of Duty sales, I don't think.
Okay. So it wouldn't count for like pre-orders and stuff, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Are pre-orders full price, or do people do like the $5 thing?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how they would count it because I think of GameStop, but I also think like they're almost extinct. So I don't know how if more people were probably getting it digitally. You know what I mean?
What's the point of pre-ordering digital though?
Yeah, I've said the same.
Like, why would anyone do that?
I've said
it's
the
right
same.
there. Like you
Yeah.
don't need to pre-order it. You
Yeah.
can just download it.
No, I've said the same. But also too, I mean, they do have Diablo 4 that brought in, and WoW that bring in money. So for ABK, so I don't know. But either way, yeah, we see the numbers dwindling down more and more for console sales. Although it's not just I know a lot of people kind of take it like, oh, see, it's
Xbox is
because
failing.
exactly, and they put their
Yeah,
games
no, it's across the
everywhere.
board, and it's not even just gaming. It's
Mhm.
it's everything. It's cars, it's houses, it's TVs, it's everything.
Yeah.
Like it's just a bad year for people spending money. People are feeling economic pinch. Like it just is what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately. But Game Pass is doing very well.
Yeah.
I was on Ham Solo and Luke's show maybe about 2 weeks ago, and they asked me. They said, "How much do you, how many subscribers do you think will sign up for Game Pass
Yeah.
for Call of Duty?" And I said, initially, I was like, maybe about 2 million, maybe 2 million more subscribers.
Yeah.
And I was
think
like,
we've been hearing.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you're about to say, but yeah.
But yeah, at first I was like 2 million, whatever. Then, and I was like, well, maybe. I said maybe less. Maybe more people will buy it outright because it's typically what they do instead of subscribing.
Yeah.
So I
true.
don't know. But what were you going to say?
Well, we were seeing the numbers on that, and it was looking like I forget if it was like the projected or if it was what they had already gotten, but they were talking between like 3 and 6.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
which is a pretty wide margin, but
That's
it's
pretty
like it's
good.
either going to be 3 or it's going to be double that. I'm not really
Right.
sure how they make that decision, but whatever. But I can say just like anecdotally that at my place of work, which is only like 15 people, Call of Duty being in Game Pass has sold 2 Game Pass subscriptions and a console. So,
nice. Very nice.
it's doing something. Like one of my coworkers came up to me and was like, "Hey, I just bought the Series S. Can I play Game Pass on that?" And I was like, "You bought it before you asked me this?" Because I mean, yes, but
he's adventurous.
I mean, look, it was only like $100. What is it, $200 now or something?
Yeah, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, that's
And then
pretty
another
dope.
one of my coworkers who she already had a Series S, but she only plays I think like Fortnite and probably Valorant or something. She was like, "I want to play Call of Duty, so I'm gonna get Game Pass." And I was like, "Yeah, sounds good.
There you go.
Have fun, knock yourself out, kid."
That's a W. Yeah. I will say I saw less doom and gloom this time around for the financials. It seems like often it used to be the case where I guess our Who brothers would be like, "Oh, see, Microsoft's going third party." Like,
Yeah,
I've seen
forgetting
less
of course
of that.
that PlayStation published games on Xbox long before Xbox published games on PlayStation. But that's
Right.
fine.
Yeah, well,
But the MLB made them do it. Yeah, okay, they still did it though.
selective memory, you know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know. That one always kind of bothered me. And it's also the situation of like, I don't know. It feels like just looking at the financials and the numbers of like how both companies are doing. Like in every way but public perception, Xbox is on top. They make more money. They sell more games. They have however many. They just announced. I think it was it 10 games that had broken $1 billion.
20.
20
of them,
games
yeah.
had broken $1 billion, and franchises had broken $1 billion.
That's crazy right there. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, like Diablo made $1 billion in a year. I'm sure that Call of Duty is probably gonna. I think just Black Ops 6 will probably make $1 billion on its own.
A couple of billion, I would imagine.
Well, actually, I don't know because you would have to include whatever percentage of it come from like the Black Ops 6 equivalent, like part of
A Warzone.
Warzone.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly how you would do that math, but I wouldn't be surprised if that game made $1 billion. It's Call of Duty. It's the best-selling game pretty much every year. We just got the number that the Halo franchise had crossed 10 billion in revenue.
Sheesh.
I think that was back in like April, but still. Which another fun fact about that is right after, because I looked this up, I was curious. Right after Halo 4 came out, they had announced that it had crossed like 3.3 something billion in revenue, the Halo franchise. Mm-hmm. So 343, since the release of Halo 4, has made an additional like $7 billion off of presumably just what, Halo 5, Halo Infinite, and I guess Halo Wars 2 would have been in there.
It's why it's kind of funny. Like you hear a lot of people like, "Oh, 343 needs to go" and stuff. It's like,
oh, they gotta go. They're terrible. It's like, well, they make really good money.
Still making money, yeah. I mean, I can tell you right now, I've spent a good $1,000 or so just for microtransactions in Infinite alone. I can tell you that.
You spent $1,000? Jeez.
At the very least, if I had
that's crazy.
I should do the math on it. Go look. See, I'm sure my purchases, if they don't
talk
roll
to
them
a
out,
financial advisor about this addiction you found for yourself.
It's either close to or at 1,000 that I've had to spend for different like armors and things like that, or the battle pass
too much
stuff.
For those, in my opinion,
they do. I agree.
Yeah,
but like the battle pass too, stuff like that, which I was all too happy to pay for because I thought they did a really good job with that. Well, at first they did, but yeah, man, no, they're making some money. They're making some money. Yeah. It's not like
clearly they want better of 343, which is why they basically gutted that whole studio and redid it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they agree in at least some degree with the general public of like, we want these games to be better, but at the same time it's like they're not disappointed. There's no way they're disappointed with the money that 343 brought in, because in the how many years ago did Halo 4 came out? Because in the years since then they've made more than twice the amount of money that Bungie made while holding onto the Halo IP.
That's insane, right?
And that's even if you include Halo 4 in with the Bungie stuff, because those were the only two numbers that I saw. It was like right after Halo 4 and then back in April.
Yeah, Halo 4 was what, 2012?
Yeah, so if you gift Bungie a third of the games that 343 put out, they still made less than half of the money from the franchise than 343 made.
Yeah, no, listen.
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That is
because,
crazy.
like, look, Internet, I agree with you. The Bungie games are better, but they didn't make better money.
Right. Listen, yeah, you know what I was saying when they're like, oh, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Well, in this case, Halo fans get mad, Halo fans get happy. The money's still there. That was a terrible way I put that together, but still, you get the idea. It's like, people being upset about Halo, whatever, didn't ultimately harm it monetarily, at least. It's still, they're still making money.
It didn't even harm it critically. Like, that game got
like
a 90 something on Meta, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 87 for Halo.
Yeah. Well, and it's this weird thing because like this perception continues of like, oh, this game's terrible for like a lot of Xbox things. Like Starfield has basically the same Metacritic as Dragon Age Veilguard, which is now being heralded as like one of the best games of the year, and everyone, like a lot of people are saying it's their game of the year.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like got the same Metacritic. So like, what's the perception difference here? Is it literally just like, I like this one, I don't like this one? Because that's fine, but you can't tell me that they're better games if Metacritic, like you can't throw Metacritic at me as like, oh, this means it's a failure if it has the same as a game that you love.
See, that's the like, thing that's so weird, because I was having this conversation the other day and I came to the conclusion. I said, well, I get why some people don't like to see scores in games, right? Like they just kind of rather give you recommended or something like that, like our brother ACG.
Yeah.
Or
I think that's the right way to do it.
I'm starting to think maybe that they were right. I know our brother Aaron has been preaching that for a long time, and he does that, right? But I started to wonder, and I said, okay, for instance, I gave Astro Bot a 9, but Astro Bot is not a 9 comparable to the 9 that I would give Metaphor, right? You see what I mean? It's not a comparable 9. Metaphor is clearly a better game in the sense of what all the intangibles that it offers that I like, right?
Yeah.
Not to say the Astro Bot is bad, because it's not. Clearly, I'm giving it a 9, and I'm like, well, maybe I should refine that score and really, really be critical, but I don't think I need to, because that 9 is for that game. It's just different levels to this. You know what I mean? And so that's why I feel like maybe scores are not the way to go. But I will say that the continued thing we notice is that Xbox gets more scrutiny than their counterparts.
Oh, absolutely. Man, have you heard, this is so off track at this point, but another thing we got this week, it doesn't on the rundown, but I'll just throw it in here, was we got the previews back for that Indiana Jones game.
Yeah.
And the amount of like nitty gritty that some of these people are going into to like dig for something negative to say about it is pathetic.
Yeah.
It's so pathetic because like what they want to say is I had a great time with the game, but what they instead say is it was really good, except I hated this thing, and you know Xbox really needed this to do this, and like they need because it's Xbox, they needed it to be this much percent better, right. And it's like shut the fuck up. Like, what did you enjoy the game? Was it a good game or not? Like, that's all I care about. I don't give a shit if you think this is gonna save the Xbox brand. I don't. Yeah. Just tell me if the game is fun to play.
They have a bad habit of doing that. And it's like, how many times does Xbox want to need to be saved?
Yeah, when like they're objectively the most financially successful
out of the three
company in the business right now.
Right.
Like,
it's just,
I mean, like,
much
can
to
we
do
look
about
at PlayStation
nothing.
right now? Like, look, I like PlayStation as much as the well, maybe not as much as the next guy, but like well enough. And we look at their financials and they're falling off a cliff right now. They just put between 2 and 4 million. I don't know. We're getting like mixed numbers on that into Concord, and it failed catastrophically to the point where the studio was shut down and they had to pull the game from like they had to EOS the game in 15 days.
And refund
PSVR
people.
is a complete failure. They've shut down 6 studios in 4 years. They're hemorrhaging talent like it's going out of style. Bungie laid off half their team, and then they pulled them inside the PlayStation Studio, which got more people outside of Sony laid off. Like they are floundering, and no one is talking about it.
Yeah,
like Sony is dropping hard.
It's a
but
lot
they're
of
like,
favorable.
But Ghost of Yote comes out next year, and I'm like, cool, and it'll probably be good, but it's not what they need. Like, it's not what they need right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's too late, kind of.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's like
they're gonna need about 4 or 5 more of those.
More Yotes, but it's funny though because you're right about that, and it's like. I think it's like, when we talked about this before and we talked about the Xbox tax, as people called it, our point was that there is an Xbox tax, but it's an unconscious bias. And this goes to show
it's just
that.
Bias.
Yeah, it's an, some people may be a purposeful bias, but I think it's unconscious bias in general where people tend to, how can I relate this? Okay, for instance, and this is going to be political, guys, and I'm not going one way or another with this. I don't want nobody, oh, you're Islamophobe or something, or you're Islamist or whatever. Somebody pointed out, they said, well, you look at the words used to describe what Israel was doing versus what they would say that Palestine did when they attacked. And the words were different. For the attacks on Israel, it was like, oh, they slaughtered these Israelis and all of that, and et cetera, et cetera. But when it was what Israel was doing, which is clearly 10 times worse than what was happening to the Israelis, and peace and love to both parties. I'm not siding with anything here.
I mean, I don't really want to get into it too much.
Exactly.
But I think the general consensus from most level-headed people is like, there's not a good guy in that situation.
It's not.
Like, there's a side there's a side that is doing potentially more evil shit, but they're both doing evil shit.
Right. But so, but they pointed out that the wording was so different, dramatically different, and is very clear. One side is being clearly genocided, and the words were like, oh. It was like very mundane, like, oh, this, this unfortunate incident. Like it was very, it was very clearly different wording for it to describe what are heinous acts and killings, right?
Yeah.
And
I think the thing that gets swept under the rug so often in the Palestine-Israel conversation is like the people who are dying aren't really on either side. They're just fucking civilians.
They're just there, innocents.
To live there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, what we really need is for someone to like put a dog collar kind of on both sides and be like, can you just figure this out in a way that doesn't involve blowing up your entire country? That'd be cool.
It's out of hand, man, and it's really sad. And we're not going to go too far into it again because I know it's very politically charged. It's heavy on people's hearts.
I don't have enough information on it to like have a
fully,
public on national TV level conversation about it.
Same.
But
same.
Yeah,
and I definitely don't want to come off
situation.
too ignorant about it or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I say all that, and I'm sorry I kind of brought that into that, but I say that to say, as an analogy to say, the wording choices is what matters, and that's when the bias is there. So the wording choice for when PlayStation is struggling is they kind of tend to focus on something either Xbox did or or that this new PlayStation game is doing well, or this new PlayStation game dropped to
you saw
avoid
it this week too.
We
like,
did.
They'll bring up shit that's not even related. They'll be like, "Man, that Concord studio just got shut down. Y'all hear about Redfall? Still bad." It's like, okay, dude, that was like 8 months ago.
Or look at Jeff Keighley, for instance, when he made that post.
Sure.
Everybody got on his tail about this one, right? And it was so funny because it was like when the Xbox had that issue and they closed down the studio. Oh, Microsoft Xbox closes down whatever Tango or whatever it was. And then when Sony did this the other day, he didn't mention Sony. He just said Concord or Firewalk Studios, the maker of Concord, closes down.
Yeah, I mean, I would personally I'm still more pissed off about the Tango thing than I am about the Firewalk thing.
Very much so.
Although I guess Tango still exists.
They still exist. Nice. Yeah, they still exist. That worked out.
Like,
that worked
despite out. Xbox's best efforts, Tango still exists.
Yeah. Well, to be fair to Xbox, they did. Yeah. They did like scrap. They could have got rid of them altogether, but they kept them and sold them off. So I guess it's a silver lining.
They didn't. Sorry. Abdel says Sony closed Deviation Games too. They didn't close them because they didn't own them, but they did cancel the only project that was why they existed, and so they did kind of close. It's a gray area. Like they're the reason they closed, but they weren't the ones who like. I don't know. I guess they did. They killed Deviation, but they didn't shut it down. There's a gray area there. But you're right, and you're also wrong. They were in partnership. Yeah. The Deviation like whole situation. So if you didn't know, Deviation Games was making like some live service game for them, and they were never acquired, and then apparently just like weren't bringing it together in a way that they wanted it to, and so they canceled the game. And then within like I think it was like a week after they announced that they were backing out of that partnership, Deviation was like, well, we don't have money.
That's the end of us. All right.
Yeah, like we can't afford to pivot to another game. We can't sell this to somebody else because it's PlayStation's game.
Right.
So we just can't exist anymore.
That's pretty jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are responsible, and I guess it's kind of semantics but they didn't own them. So it's it's technical. Yeah.
I would count that because it is directly their fault that studio is gone.
That's on you, Sony. But Gray had asked, what's up, Gray, by the way, our mod, Gray Monad. He says, did you guys hear about the PS5 plates aren't compatible with the Pro? I saw that, yeah.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, they got the PS5. It's the exact same size and all, but they purposely put the screws and such or the grooves or whatever to let you put them in place on different positionings for both. So you can't use,
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I hate that. Wonderful.
That was really cheap.
Jesus.
We already complained about their charging $30 for the stand. Like that's just come on. Like that's nickel and dime. That's just so unnecessary. But yeah. What's this? What is this?
Selma Omari. She's
Omari?
Fine.
Who's that?
I don't know who that is. I have no idea. I could Google her, but I don't know.
Let me look her up.
Here's an interesting fact. So, because one of the things in the Jeff Keighley tweet about like, oh, they shut down the studio after however many months of owning them. Firewalk Studio was acquired by Sony in April of 2023 and shut down in October of 2024. So like a year and a half or something, whatever that maths out to. Yeah, about a year and a half.
Selma, it's funny, Abdel. She looks, I'm not trying to be funny here. She looks like a cousin of mine, a little bit. So
is she like an actress or something?
I think she's some type of personality or something.
Oh, like a influencer type?
Something like that. That's what it looks like.
Why are you bringing up influencers? I don't know who this is.
Yeah, she's a little petite thing too, 5'4". So she's a little small, little mama. But yeah, she kind of reminds me of my cousin, so I can't even be attracted to her like that. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I'm all right.
Right. Somebody should make a 3D print in between the plates so it'll work. Yes, I'm sure somebody is.
They did that. They did that, but they got
shut down.
That's right. Yeah, there was a company that was like making their own plates for the PlayStation. They got shut down.
Yeah, was it D-Plate, D-Plate, something like that?
I don't think it was Displate because those are the guys who do like the metal wall hanging things. But it was a company like that.
BarQ says Umbra Abdel would like to have your cousin's number. Yeah, and AJH says it too. He said, "Hook me up."
Hey, your cousin single?
It was Felix says D brand. Was that it?
D brand. It could be. Yeah, I mean that sounds right.
yeah. Throw a spanner in the works. Absolutely. I don't know. Okay, some type of soap opera. I'm not sure. Abdel, what is this? Like, what does this lady do? I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
let us know.
yeah.
I think that's it for the bigger news stories. I have a couple of smaller ones if you want to talk about them, but we're also like an hour in, so if you want to pivot to the main topics, I think that would be a good time.
So right now, since we're here, let's it says, I don't know if it's bugging on you guys on your end, but it's telling me that YouTube is doesn't have enough, or not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So
well,
it might
hopefully that's just the video and the audio sounds okay. Let us know the second it goes wrong. I'm sure you will. In the chat, but I guess we'll just keep going until we know for sure that everything sucks.
Yeah, if it's messing up for you guys, let us know. If anything, I'll just cut the video feed, if anything, and just put it on a static image or something. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, that might help.
Yeah. You know what? Let's do the first spin. The first giveaway spin. Then we'll move into the main topic with Dragon Age and the controversy surrounding that, as well as the success.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Okay.
Everyone's saying that it's looking good right now, so I think we're all right.
Okay. And there we are. As you can see, I dressed it up real nice for you guys. You know, I wanted to look really special for you all. Really official.
You got a suit on or something?
Yeah, you know, got the little duck tails in the back, the penguin tails, if you will.
Got
so
top hat,
right,
the whole nine.
The white gloves, you know, tapping out the little long cigarette with the metal.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so this is going to be our first spin. Again, we're giving away 2 copies tonight, courtesy of Felix.
God dang, that's a lot of names on there.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, and I had to purposely, type and copy paste them all over here. So, yes, you see what we go through for you guys. So good luck. I'm going to hit this, click the spin.
Good luck, everybody. I'm going to assume most of the people on this wheel are not in the chat, so we probably won't hear immediately.
Yeah. Let's see.
But that's all right. Why it's spinning, huh?
Oh, this thing is spinning.
It's going.
Let's see. Wheel of Fortune up in here. I'll be so mad if I was like right there and it rolls past me going that slow.
My eyes aren't good enough to be able to read them, so I don't think anyone's gonna.
Brute. E2 Brute. So Brute is our first winner. Brute, if you're watching, DM me really quick. And even if you're not, and, you know, and I had to do this before, by the way, because I did a giveaway some time back, way back. You know, somebody actually changed their @ and everything to match that person so they can claim it, and claimed it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, you son of a bleep. But I was courteous enough to have to give them the $50 again. So I paid $100 total for that one mistake. So Brute was our first winner. I'm going to remove his name, of course, for the second spin. So congratulations to Brute. And good luck to you all for the second spin coming up soon.
Ooh-wee.
Yes.
Now I wish I hadn't bought my own copy. I could have just stolen one of these and not told anybody.
Hey.
We wouldn't do that, but maybe, unless.
Right. Let me pull up this cow up. I see a few people still try to enter after the fact. Sorry for anybody else past the last person I added before we started.
Sorry, the wheel is made, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so I'll start with MrMattyPlays because that's where a lot of the drama started and unfolded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Let me switch to this scene here. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. All right, so it was a lot of controversy about Mr. Matty Plays. If you guys are unaware, Matty had a custom character of his, was floating around by one of these bigots / racists who was using said image before the game's embargo released or lifted, should I say. And so people were like, wait a minute, isn't that his Rook?
Yeah, people noticed immediately, which is crazy because it was, I mean, grant a fairly big name YouTuber, but then a Twitter account with like was relatively small. I think it's hard to say because it's shut down now. But it was like a pretty small one that was just going off about like, I don't know. I didn't read the tweets because it was dead by the time I saw it. The account, I mean, was dead by the time I saw it, so I only saw like 2 or 3 screenshots. Yeah. But they were going off about like, I don't know, like DEI stuff and like, oh, there's a black guy and there's like trans, like it's crazy. Like basically just like a huge racist asshole had seemingly somehow gotten what should have been NDA'd footage from MrMattyPlays.
Yep. So they got this footage and Matty was looking, I mean, it was looking bad for him. You know, it was looking bad. He's still kind of technically,
I mean, he still
broke NDA.
Yeah, he's still in legal trouble.
Yeah, he still might be in some hot water. It depends on the grace of EA.
I think because he also gave it a really bad review, I would not be surprised if EA used the opportunity to be like, well, you broke NDA last time, so we're not going to give you more stuff.
That's fair. They might just do that.
I think it's a combination of things, but I would not expect to, at least for the next couple games, would not expect Matty to get review code.
Yeah, and this right here could have been really disastrous for him because other people could have seen it. It's a pretty big publisher. They have, a lot of sway in the industry. It could have been a big black eye for him, where other publishers or studios would have said, "Nope, we don't want your salutations over here." So that whole thing broke out, and it was starting to be shared, and of course the grifters got a hold to it, and my friend, prominent, reviewer, blah blah blah, posted this, and everybody was like, "Wait a minute, that's Matty's Rook." And I remember I was just on Discord talking with a bunch of friends, and they were like, "Oh, wait a minute, Matty's in trouble." I'm like, "What's going on?" And everybody's looking at it, and everybody was like, "He did this. Wait a minute. What if he's actually that secret bigoted person that's using that as an
alt?" It looks like it looks like we are starting to get choppy.
Everybody is still there. If you guys can't hear us, YouTube is having a bit of an issue. I've seen it actually. It was happening with Funds on his him and Hargeet's podcast yesterday as well, where it was really choppy and buffering. So bear with us. Hopefully it'll adjust. I stopped the video from playing, so that should probably clear up some of the overhead, if you will.
YouTube ain't doing great.
Damn you, OBS.
I don't even think it's OBS on this one. I think YouTube is just going through something.
Yeah.
The fact that it gave you a notification of like, we don't have the bitrate for this is a new one for me. Right. I've not heard that one before.
They're like, hey, just so you know, you're about to get screwed.
You know what it reminds me of is that, I don't know if it's like a Spectrum commercial or what, but there's like the old lady walking around and she's like slapping sticky notes on all the like web-enabled devices. And she's like, deprioritized. Like, no internet for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's still showing in the red.
Okay, Moonman's saying it's back.
It's back. Let's see.
Yeah. So in summary of what we were saying, it looked like Matty had potentially leaked some footage out early to a guy who was being a real shithead about it. And then he later came out with this very long thing that I imagine aren't going to read the whole thing of because it's like 17 chapters.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But he came out with this whole statement that was basically like, I gave the footage to one of my editors and it seems like they leaked it. to some dickhead, and so that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in two minds about it. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because I do, up until recently, really like MrMattyPlays. He's been very negative lately about like everything, and that's been kind of grating. But like, I don't know, maybe he's going through something. But I've liked him since I was in high school, and he was also in high school. So I have a lot of respect for him. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But then on the other hand, like looking at it objectively, if he had done it, he's not going to be like, hell yeah, I did it, and I would do it again. So
yeah, I did it, and I'll do it again.
So like I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, but like I understand if other people don't. But also like just be nice to him about it because he's probably going to get into some degree of legal trouble about it already, and they don't need your input making it worse.
Pretty much, and I've seen some people who do not forgive him, and they still believe that he was duplicitous.
I mean, look, it's not like he did any like even if he gave it to this guy, the worst thing you can say is like he has a shitty friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, he wasn't saying he hates the game. Like that was his review, is he thinks it's really bad. Know, so like, you know, if that's what you're really upset about, then just be like, I wish he liked this game that I like. But if you're mad about him leaking it, you know, don't stand on your high horse and be like, I can't believe he broke NDA, and then also look at like the 4,000 people who are leaking video game stuff every day.
You know what it was?
What I mean?
You know what it is too? Is also it's so much because a lot of that grifting thing is going on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's like it was used for the purpose of more anti-DEI, SBI, you know, like that's what it also fed into. So I think it was like, oh, here we go.
Well, it's weird though, because I also feel like if you're one of those guys, right, you're the like, oh, I don't want any gay people in my games or whatever.
Right.
Can't spell games without gay. That you would be in the camp of like wanting to drag Maddie into your circle and be like, oh, you would be the person who wanted to pretend that Maddie was the guy saying it, so that you don't understand these people like on any level. So this is far from the weirdest thing that they've done. But I wish him the best.
I wish him the best as well. But I am of two minds like you. And my initial thought was, whoa, did he really do that? Initially, it was just shock and like surprise. Like, wow, can't believe he would do that, right? And it's like, how would that get out there? Then everybody I spoke with before he actually came out and said anything. So I made a tweet to him on his notice of the review that was going to be released. I said, they're saying you're cooked, right?
Yeah.
So somebody tried to come back later after I gave him, praise for this chapter right here that he wrote. And they were like, oh, you were trashing him before. I didn't trash anybody. Like I said, your reading comprehension is poor. I just simply said it looked like you're cooked, like you're in trouble. I didn't wish ill will on him or anything like that, or condemned him or judged him. I didn't say anything. But so my initial thought was, wow, did he really do that? Especially once we started seeing this kind of more negative turn that you just mentioned. I was like, that kind of lines up, right? But then I also thought, would he be silly enough to do that, to jeopardize his entire, foundation of what he's been building for that?
I don't think so, at least not on purpose.
Yeah. So after you think on it, it didn't make sense. But some people I will say, said that he's going to blame it on the editor. And sure enough, he came
I
out
did
and
see
said
that beforehand, and it's a little rough that like people called that shot.
Yeah.
I do think it's definitely possible. I mean, like it's equally as likely that an editor leaked it as he leaked it, quite frankly.
I agree.
Maybe more so because like the editor's not going to be the one to get in trouble for it, legally speaking, probably.
True. And that's why like I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I just don't think he would want to jeopardize what he has right here for something that trivial.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
So, Maddie, all love to you. Continue doing your thing. And of course, I have to give him,
like cheer up a little.
Cheer up a little. Cheer up a little.
Find a game that you like and play that.
Play something
you
like.
Haven't had fun in a while.
Yeah, right. But yeah, like, listen, I think you'll be fine. All love to you. And I have to show him. I got to show him grace anyway, because our brother Lord Cognito was on the show with him and everything like that.
Yeah.
What is it? Finding Dukes.
Defining Duke.
Defining Duke, should I say? So I have to give him grace. I know Cog is a great judge of character himself, being a great man himself. So it just didn't line up with Maddie from what we've seen. it didn't seem like that'd be something he would do, right? That he would be hateful secretly. And we were making all types of jokes. So I got to tell you, people were like, "Oh, he's like, he's secretly like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where he's like out in the open.
God, can you imagine?
Salutations, and then behind the scenes, you N-word. Like, can you imagine that?
He's like just under the table. He's stabbing some guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that'd be insane. Look,
Salutations.
there's a non-zero chance that it turns out that he did do it and that he is the guy on Twitter. I doubt it heavily.
Yeah.
If that does turn out, then like that sucks, and I really I don't know what to say about that. I don't think it will. Like, I'll leave the door open for the possibility, but I think it's like 0.5% chance that any of that is even remotely real. I think what he's written here is most likely accurate.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I did notice, and that I saw the people point out too, is that he didn't really name and shame the person involved. Now,
No.
he might be legally liable if he did that, to be fair. So maybe he can't.
That was my question actually, is it's like, if Matty's the one who signed the NDA, is he allowed to give it to his editor? I've never signed an NDA that would have included anyone other than myself, so I don't know.
I don't
know.
I'm wondering.
But it
the
feels
same
like
thing.
that would have to be something that you would have to leave room for a lot of these content creators, right? They don't edit their own stuff, and they want it to be ready to go like as soon as NDA is up. So like,
and Matty has
you would
a
think
lot
that would be
going
a
on.
thing.
Yeah.
I just don't have the knowledge base to know if that's a thing.
I agree with you, and we don't know enough because the thing is like. They have to know that he has editors. He's got a lot going on. He's got a lot on his plate.
He puts out like 3 videos a week. He's not doing that himself.
Not to mention the podcast. Not to mention, I think I was told he's run a game studio. So like he has a lot going on.
He's got
So it's pretty much impossible for him to do all of that and edit the videos properly, as well as edit a video review like properly, like to edit all that and put it together. I'm willing to give the man the benefit of the doubt.
For sure.
I just wonder if it's possible for him to name who it was, and but I guess it's going to be dealt with privately. It is what it is. I wonder what's the fallout.
It's out of our hands, you know, and I don't want to dwell on it too much, but it's a bad situation. But what's a good situation is apparently how Dragon Age is selling.
Yeah, and that's
what the hell.
But before we go to that though, before we go to that, I gotta highlight this because part of the fallout for this was this. Let's see. So from him having that issue to the grifters. Let's see if he.
Oh, is it Grums?
Is Grums? He's.
Of course it is.
He put together.
He made a fake ass NDA. Like they don't look like that. It's written in like Times New Roman, fucking Gallica or something. Like you whipped up a Word document and stuck this together, and you're like, yeah, here it is. There's the NDA you broke. Like, you've never seen an NDA in your life, dude.
You would think that people would see this and like, okay, let me distance myself from this fool. But nope. They're still with him. They're still riding with him. He says, leak. BioWare EA caught red-handed. MrMattyPlays agreement supposedly leaked. It wasn't a conspiracy theory. It was true.
I'm starting to believe at this point that Grums is just like a robot. He's just AI.
He's just AI
designed to make like the stupidest decisions possible. Like I don't believe this is a real person at this point.
He puts return to form. What is this? A required phrase. Content creation guidelines for Dragon Age Veilguard leaked. Question mark leaked. Why does he have so many questions in the one thing? Like,
I don't know.
And the statements. If true, this confirms everything.
It's written very badly.
There is so much here, so much more here. You cannot talk about woke. This is access journalism. This is bullcrap.
I mean,
and we have to tear the corrupt system all down. So check this out. Check this out. The funniest parts about this was
I didn't actually read the document, but I have to assume it's written either by him badly or by AI badly.
Oh, it's hilarious. And two particular parts that's the most hilarious. If you look here at the top left, it says EA BioWare.
It says from the desk of Grums.
But if you look at it right here, you can still see the cursor where they would type their information. Right here by the EA BioWare name.
Couldn't even save it as a PDF. Couldn't be bothered.
How stupid. And then you'll notice also San Francisco is spelled wrong.
Also, I might be wrong on this. I don't think either BioWare or Maddie are in San Francisco. So why are they referencing San Francisco?
I think maybe for the Last Stand Media, maybe that's the case.
Oh yeah, Colin's probably around there because he used to work for Kind of Funny, but he might have moved. I think he lives in like Middle America now.
He's in Iowa somewhere, huh? No,
I don't know. I want to say he moved after he left Kind of Funny. I might be wrong about that. I don't really follow the YouTube People magazine or whatever, but I feel like he did.
Yeah, that's funny. It could be that he moved. It might still be based out there though.
It's possible. Yeah, I don't know, dude.
But all
Either
of this
way,
is
it
hilarious.
don't matter because it's not even spelled San Francisco.
It's not even spelled right. So he did this and he posted this, and of course, many people jumped on him and destroyed him after that.
Magnum says Colin lives in Virginia, so not Middle America. It just kind of feels like Middle America.
West Virginia.
West Virginia. I hope he loved Fallout 76. I somehow doubt it.
I bet he did not. Maddie comments on this, of course, because he was used as a proxy for this nonsense. Yeah. He says misinformation like this is damaging to the gaming community. This post is unbelievably false. It's not the NDA I signed with EA, not even remotely close.
Doesn't even look like one.
It doesn't.
I've only signed like 2, and I can tell you that's not an NDA.
Yeah.
That doesn't even look like one.
Not at all. The creator of this post even stated they are inclined to believe it's untrue. This is the last time I will be speaking about this moving forward. So Maddie's just done with it, man. He's like, and they got
Colin got onto him too, onto Grums about it.
Oh yeah, he did.
Like everyone got onto him about it. Well, and the thing is, like,
challenged him.
Yeah, he was like, "Come on, whatever my show is called." And
you know he would destroy him in
public.
You know he would.
100%.
You know what he did to old boy. You remember that?
Yeah, look, for all of Colin Moriarty's faults, of which there are many, he's a good ass. He's good at talking. He's a good debater. Do not go on his show. He will kick your ass.
Yeah. I agree. I saw him do what he did to that guy.
Especially if you're an idiot like Grums, he will destroy you.
Oh, very easily. I think it was as saltiest, if I'm not mistaken, that he did that too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was as saltiest gaming guy, and he destroyed him.
Oh, that guy was a moron too.
Oh,
not as bad as Grums, probably.
Not as bad, no. But he was also a scammer too, because a con man, because he's conned people out of the money, I think, for a console, and he was acting like it was for health reasons. And then he used it to get an Xbox or something like that. So he was a con artist too.
Well, and that's the thing about this whole Grums situation, by which I mean the existence of Grums and not just like this one particular instance, is like everyone knows he sucks shit. Like everyone knows. I don't know why people like. I don't feel like Maddie even needed to respond to this. I'm not mad that he did, but he didn't need to. Everyone knows that Grums is full of shit. Yeah, everyone.
I think it was just the fact that his name was in it. And he's like, look, I'm already going through whatever right now.
Yeah, he said, I'm already getting sued. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. And he walked up on stage and slapped the shit out of it.
Right. Exactly that.
I get it. I understand.
So throughout all of this, the Grums of the world had been, trashing Dragon Age for its wokeness. I'm just going to play into it like my brother Slow-Mo. Slow-Mo made a character. He called him Wokemere.
Wokemere.
I'm going to name my character Deion, like Dion, but Deion.
Like Dion.
Yeah.
What's that? Wait, what's that show? There's a show that's called like something Dion. Am I crazy?
I'm not sure.
I want to look it up. Hold on.
Yeah. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to play into it and make a mockery of these anti-wokers. But
there's a show called Raising Dion about a single mom, widowed single mom raising her superpowered son.
Okay.
Now I have opened it and it looks like, I mean, he's a black kid, so he does have lightning powers because that's a thing for some reason.
Why do they always give us lightning powers?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know. They said make static shock, but he's 8.
That's funny.
Oh wait, no, maybe he doesn't have electric powers, but like the bad guy does. I don't know. There's shots of him with electricity. I don't have the information.
Electricity has to be involved in some manner.
Yeah,
it'd be an enemy or him. One of them got to have it. But yeah, man. So he said this and he addressed that, and there was a lot of whatever Dragon Age slander going on and people hating on it. Now I will be honest. I saw a few clips that were like, okay, Like that. All right. That was cringe. I won't lie.
I think, and that's the part that has. There's a lot of the stuff that we've seen. We're going to talk about it later. It's doing really well in sales, for me, like the DEI conversation aside, I'm surprised by that because I haven't seen anything in terms of like the gameplay or the visual, anything about this game where I'm like, yeah, that looks great. The best thing I've seen is like, that looks like a video game that I would play.
Right.
And I'm a more strict person when it comes to specifically Dragon Age games, especially because I'm like a huge fan of that series.
Right.
So but I was not expecting for it to pop off the way that it has in terms of just like people talking about it.
It had popped off really crazy, and the success at that. So shout out to our brother Kami here, who posted about it. Dragon Age: The Veilguard, currently #1 seller on Steam worldwide, knocking off Call of Duty.
I'm genuinely shocked. It won't hold that position.
It won't hold it. No, I don't think so.
But the fact that it even got it for a second, genuinely shocking.
Same.
And not just because I don't think the game looks good. I think it looks fine.
Yeah.
But
it's in the face of Call of Duty.
We're talking about Call of Duty here.
Right.
Like any game topping Call of Duty is news.
It's big news for sure.
Like,
last year, I believe
Grand
it was
Theft Auto. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
No
shit.
And it wouldn't happen either, to be fair. But yeah,
they wouldn't put those games out next to each other. They would.
Yeah, that would be a big mistake. But so biggest Steam launch ever for BioWare ever, with 68,000 plus concurrent players. Biggest single player game ever for EA. Wow, passing up Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That's insane. I did not expect it to do that well. I was hopeful that it would do well, and it's funny because it just upends a lot of these guys. Go woke, go broke, and it's like, well,
yeah. Well, let's not forget also that people were getting onto other game that did better than Call of Duty last year, Hogwarts Legacy, for being DEI too.
They did,
but then they dropped the story once the game started doing well because they're like, well, this doesn't fit my narrative.
Yeah.
So like
they moved away from it.
I guess we'll just instead pivot to the like, oh, you can't cancel J.K. Rowling. This game's doing good. And it's like, you were trying to cancel this game because it has a black girl in it like a week ago.
Right. That still makes me so angry. I don't even want to get into that because I get so mad thinking of how the journalists more or less blacklisted them. It
was a weird situation where like the shitty people and the journalists were both trying to cancel the game for different reasons.
They were. Yeah, you're right.
And then the shitty people gave up at some point, but the journalists did not.
They did not. They held it
they
against
did not.
them.
Which I guess, is more commendable. Like, stand your ground, I guess.
Right.
I don't know, dude.
Stand by the game that you hate.
Yeah, I can't. Dude, I
That's
don't know.
funny.
At this point, at least you're not wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Like, you hate your thing, go off, king. I don't know.
Right. No, but that was funny. But speaking of Hogwarts, that is actually one of the rare games that outdid, I believe, Call of Duty for a time as well, sales-wise.
Yeah, but even to that conversation, that Call of Duty, I mean, it's still sold very well. It's Call of Duty, but like that was a Call of Duty that was not being held up as like a good one. From what I remember, it was like one of the worst ones.
Yeah, that
in
is
terms
true.
of like at least how people were talking about it. I don't know about sales numbers. And this is being held up as the exact opposite of like, this is a return to form. This is one of the best Call of Duties in ages. Like, and it still got beat, at least for the moment, by Dragon Age. Like, that's crazy.
It is. It really is. So kudos to BioWare, and it's so unique in EA. It's so unique because my worry for this game was like, this is not the BioWare we grew up on. This is not the Mass Effect.
No, it's completely different people.
Right. So it's different.
Most of those people have gone off and started their own studios.
Exactly. So that was my worry. But I was watching Xbox Era's review with Jesse. Shout out to Jesse, and Jesse does great reviews, by the way. I didn't agree with him on the Redfall one. I don't know how he got to a 9 out of 10, but Jesse, in general,
I don't think I know him.
Jesse he has like the beard going, a very intelligent brother. You hear him speak, and he's very eloquent in his speech.
Sorry, where is this from?
Xbox Era.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've engaged with Xbox Era much.
Check out some of his reviews if you get a chance on YouTube. He does a good job. Inspired me a bit when I do my writing for it, which I have to do for Meta 4, by the way. Anyway, so he gave this game a 10 out of 10. He said it's a masterpiece.
That's crazy.
It is
I mean,
crazy.
I'm happy for him.
Hey, listen.
But also, if he gave Redfall a 9, I don't know how much that means.
Yeah, I gotta use that against
but,
you, brother. I don't know how you got a 9 out of that one, but
I don't know. It seems like me and him are not going to agree on a ton of things if he's giving Redfall a 9.
yeah, fair enough. But he's not the only one. I've seen a few other people, outlets or whatever, that gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think IGN gave it either a 9 or a 10.
A 9, yep.
Yeah.
So like this game is reviewing well overall. I believe it's sitting at a 84. So
the exact same as Starfield.
Same as Starfield, the game that people were saying up. Microsoft is in trouble.
One was a huge problem because it was too much like a Bethesda game, and one is being praised because it's back to being like a BioWare game.
Right, exactly.
It's just you compare these two things, and it's kind of hilarious that
Yeah.
like, oh, this one, all of the same conversation on both of these things. One good, one bad. Don't know. Same review score though, so that's something.
It's something how the narratives can be changed to the help or hinder. And look to our brother, the Moon Man, aka I'll save that for myself. He says Hogwarts should have won Game of the Year. It should have at least been a contender. It should have been a contender.
Oh yeah, it wasn't even nominated, huh?
Not even nominated.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, last year had a couple of good games, but it was definitely higher than most games, in my opinion.
I agree. It belonged to be in that company of games that was nominated for Game of the Year. It just, I wouldn't have
put it above Alan Wake 2, but it should have been in the conversation.
Yeah. Redfall a 9. Yes, John. He gave it a 9. So
that's nuts. That's straight nuts.
Yeah, he spit the water out of his mouth when he heard that. Yeah. And listen, I tried to like Redfall. I tried, and it was like, nope.
Yeah, I mean, it's
not a good game.
Yeah, it's one of those conversations where it's like, I think it's like a good game made badly, if that makes sense. Like there's so much of it that could have been good, but then it just like didn't come together.
It had the potential to be something, but it wasn't. It didn't live up to it.
It's also, like on paper, if you read that game, you'd be like, hell yeah. And then you get your hands on the controller and you're like
hell no. Right.
Ooh,
brother.
This is not what I came here for.
Right. And yeah, it had the potential for it. It's just they did not land. And once we find out the information, like, oh, they didn't even want to work on the game. Well, it made sense. Okay.
Yeah.
You can see that.
You can feel that.
You can feel it. So this ended up being a really it's doing well so far. Dragon Age. I don't know how long this will last for it. I'm sure a good positive word of mouth might help it in the long run. We'll see. Again, kudos to the BioWare team and to EA for this. I don't know, man. I don't know where it's going to go with this, but I some people did float the thought of, and I want to get your thoughts on this one question before we move to our last topic. They said that maybe they don't trust the journalists so much, and I know a lot of people don't trust journalists nowadays.
Yeah.
And their question was, do you think the more positive, 9s out of 10s and 10s out of 10s were people possibly trying to say this to spare BioWare because this could possibly be the end of BioWare if this didn't do well?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't know. I'm kind of in a similar camp where a lot of like the bigger news sites for video games are just like, they're just so exhausting to me with like all their SEO and like clickbait nonsense and just like fake stories about, Xbox bad, PlayStation good, and just like trying to do the console war shit all the time. But what I will say is like, outside of the console war thing, which this is completely out of it, like they're never going to do something because they want a studio to fail or succeed. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that happening. Mm-hmm. I do genuinely think that a lot of people really like this game. I don't necessarily, looking at the gameplay or any of the trailers, like think that I'm gonna be a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 with it, but I already bought the game. Like, I knew I was gonna do that the second it was from the second it was announced as Dreadwolf. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy that day one. I didn't know at the time that I was gonna have to put 100 hours into Metaphor before I could get to it, but here we are.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're trying to save BioWare. I can't imagine them doing that. But at the same time, like, I guess I'm glad they are, because if this game is really good, then I want the next Mass Effect to be like this too, and I want BioWare to sort of go back to their roots, which is going to be hard to do because their roots have started other studios. They're growing new plants. But I don't know. This is a weird conversation for me to have because the way that I feel about it personally is I'm seeing all these reviews and there's an aspect of it for me where I'm like, I feel like I'm just so disconnected from what so many of these reviewers want because there's a lot of games that have reviewed really well or really poorly, and specifically in the last like 2-3 years, where I just completely disagree with like everything people are saying about it. Like Baldur's Gate, right? That was a huge game. People loved that game. Astro Bot, huge game. People loved that game. Yeah. Both of those games I played it, and I was like, Baldur's Gate, I was like, this is a good game, but it's just not what people are saying it is, and it's also like doesn't run well and is not a good representation of Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. Astro Bot, I'm straight up, I'm like, I think that's a bad game.
Right.
And then it goes the other way too, where, you know, I'll hear them talking about, I mean, the Starfield one I understand, I guess, because like it has a lot of clunk to it, especially at launch. So like I understand that conversation. The continued hate around it, I think, is incredibly forced. And so like that one's weird to me because I come away more positive on that and like a bunch of other games from that same conversation. So it's weird. Like I personally feel very disconnected from the vibe of bigger news sites, but then I find a lot of like single person YouTube channels or whatever who I find myself agreeing with way more often. And I think that's kind of just the direction we're going at this point, is like it's so hard to get a consistent voice from something like IGN or GameSpot or something where like you can't even look at it and be like, oh, they gave this a 4 and this a 5, like let's compare these two things, because they're written by two different people, and sometimes they're written by like outsourced people who don't even really work for the company. It's like there is no one voice.
That's
like
true.
Like I watch Kinda Funny a lot, and I for the most part really like Kinda Funny. I disagree with 99% of the opinions about video games that Tim Geddes has, and I love Tim Geddes. I think he's great. Never agree with his ass, not a single time. Greg Miller thinks that Metal Gear Peace Walker is the best Metal Gear game.
Oh,
and that's
hell no.
Crazy.
He
That's
thinks that for real?
insane. He does.
Oh wow.
That's crazy. But I still like him. I still like his content. He's a funny guy. Like, I think that there's an aspect of it.
I think he's kind of funny.
He's kind of funny. I think there's an aspect of it where we're going, like, if this is an issue that you have with you know the bigger news sites, which I think is completely fair because a lot of them are just, you know, doing clickbait shit to get your money, then find the people that you find, either the people that are entertaining to you, like how I am with Kinda Funny, or find the people who you agree with and like you respect their opinion in terms of like it's going to be similar to yours, because those are the two that are going to give you the most value. Is like, if you can watch a thing and even if you disagree with them, like have a good time watching them disagree with you, then that's a value to you. And if you can watch something and be like, he has similar opinions to me, so if he's saying it's good, I will probably enjoy it too, then that's a value to you too. But I just don't see how you get that from IGN these days. I just don't. I don't know.
I agree with you 100%. And I think it's like you said, it's because of the lack of a central voice. Right?
Yeah, it's weird because like you can go in on IGN and be like, oh, well, this game was reviewed by Simon Cardy. Let's click on his thing and see like what other games that he's reviewed. But like in the broad, so like you could potentially be like, go into IGN and be like, I'm a fan of these two people who work here. But I think it would be so hard just looking at like the box score numbers on an IGN review to get anything of value from that.
No, I think that's fair. And that's why typically I tend to kind of lean toward hearing an ACG or a Skill Up even.
Yeah. Although Skill Up didn't seem to like this game.
I was going to say Skill Up was
Did
not too
seem
favorable.
to like Dragon Age. I don't know. I'm hoping that I'm wrong about this. I really want to like Dragon Age so bad because I love 2 of the 3 previous ones, and even like 2, which is unanimously the bad one. But there's something about, and I don't know why, I just like, I get the same energy from this game that I got from the Saints Row reboot, where it gives me that same energy of like, hello fellow kids, like I'm gonna say meme words and do a TikTok dance. Like I don't know why I'm getting that energy from. I think it's hopefully just the way it was marketed.
Maybe that,
when
and also the art style.
The actual game, it's a little different. Yeah, the art style.
I think lends it because it feels like Fortnite, and it looks like Fortnite a little bit.
I don't agree that it looks like Fortnite, but it's closer to that than photorealism for sure.
Yeah, like it definitely has a nice polish to it. It's a good looking game, but it has this kind of Pixar-esque Fortnite-ish design to the faces to me. That's the what I
see what you're saying. There's a lot of the designs, just like coming at it from a Dragon Age fan perspective. There's a lot of designs in this that have been changed that I fucking hate.
Oh, what about? Let me ask you, because a lot of people were upset about this with me too, and I was like, they were like, "Oh, what did they do to my girl Morrigan?" And I'm like, "She doesn't look that bad to me." And everybody like, "Oh."
I haven't actually seen her from this. I'll look up a picture of her.
Okay, yeah.
Did they change the way she looks in this, I assume?
Well, she looks less gothy to me, from what I can tell.
Dragon Age Veilguard, Morrigan.
But I don't think she looks bad. And then she looks a little more, slightly more clothed, I suppose, because of the previous design. Yeah.
She's dressed more similar stylistically to how she was dressed in Origins than how she was dressed in Inquisition. Inquisition, she had like a full dress.
Okay.
So this one is definitely sort of a middle ground between the two. I will say this, I think that what she's wearing in at least this one screenshot that I've pulled up, which is knowing these games probably what she wears 90% of the time, is ugly. Like, it's a bad dress. I don't think she looks bad like as a character model, but her design, like her
clothing,
whoever's doing her fashion needs to be talked to.
Yeah. Let me talk to you.
You know
really
what?
quick.
And I don't know how to explain this because of the fur on her shoulder pads. I don't know if anyone else listening to this is like looking up a picture of her or whatever. But the fur on her shoulder pads, when you look really close, because at first it looks like it's just black, like spikes, but it is fur. For some reason, in motion, she kind of feels like Hawk from Dragon Age 2, which is not necessarily a good thing. Although I thought he was cool, you know, but he wasn't. He's not like a liked character. No, yeah, don't like this. The dress is bad. The shoulder pads are dumb. The helmet or the tiara thing is ugly. It's a bad costume.
The tiara thing, I saw that. I was like, okay, I see why. That one is. I think that was what got me. I think it's tiara. It's like I think the crown kind of threw off the aesthetic more, versus if you look at her past designs where she just had her hair, you know, styled out. I thought that's what really did it.
Yeah, I'm also a little confused because she does look younger in this than she looked in Inquisition, which is, I mean, there's plot ways in which that could have happened, but I'm hoping, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But no, like they changed the way the Pride demons look, which this is not the first time that they've changed the way demons look between games, but I think the Pride demons look really stupid in this now because they don't have legs. They kind of putt around like little jetpack guys.
Like jetpack guys.
Yeah, they look like the floaters from XCOM a little bit, if that means anything to anybody.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So wait. So John says he's going to. Of course you are, John. John said he's going to bag that shit. Can you get with Morrigan?
I don't know, because I don't believe you could in Inquisition, because I think in Inquisition it's like, because you can. So you can have a child with her in Origins, and then that child shows up in Inquisition, and so like. Are they really gonna have you like be able to cuck your Origins character? 'Cause that doesn't seem like a thing that they're gonna let you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna mod it. Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, she's great. I love Morrigan.
Yeah.
But no, like that doesn't look good. The Kunari for some reason have like 6 heads. Like we're past 5 head. Like it's crazy. I don't like the way they look. There's just so many design elements of the way this game looks where I'm just like, ooh, I'm gonna give it a shot.
Is
I'm
the
gonna play it and give
Kunari
it a fair shake?
Is the Kunari the deep?
They're the guys with the
horns and such.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guys with the big horns. They're basically
saw that.
Dragon Age tieflings.
I saw that in I saw the previous designs. That's definitely a downgrade. It's a
huge downgrade.
Yeah, it looks terrible compared because he
look
more humanish, just like with fake horns on here.
Yeah, if you look up a picture of whatever the name of the Kunari squad mate companion, whatever you want to call it, from this game is, and put it next to the Arashok from Dragon Age 2, you're gonna be like, what happened? We used to be Kangs.
Like we was Kangs.
Like they were straight up. They were the coolest dudes. They were the coolest dudes in this universe, like visually. And now it's like we got big foreheads and horns. I guess
we was Kunari.
It's just fucking stupid. I don't know. The design element of this just like puts me off so hard.
It does look pretty.
But everyone keeps telling me, and like most of the reviews at least are like the story is really good, and so I'm.
It's funny though because some people I saw some reviewers saying the story was good. I saw some people saying they hated the story.
Really? Well, I
Yeah.
hope that I fall on the good side because I want a good Dragon Age game.
I hope so
badly.
too. I don't have the time, unfortunately, to get into it tonight.
Yeah,
Although
it's gonna be a while.
I could play my ROG though to play it, but I don't want to do that. I want to experience it on my OLED and in all its glory. I shout out to Slomo. I watched a bit of his gameplay earlier with Wukong, and and it looks. I mean, from what I could see from what he was playing, it looked fantastic. So I know it's a looker of a game for sure. So I'm excited for that. By the way, did they use Unreal Engine for this?
I feel like you're asking as like a leading question in court right now, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because they were using Frostbite for the previous couple games that they did after being acquired, to mixed results.
Let me see.
But to be fair,
okay, they use Frostbite. They use Frostbite.
Oh, they still use Frostbite.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
all right.
Frostbite.
I was gonna say.
I was ready.
I was gonna say. To be fair, it seems like this has broken the habit of open world Unreal games not running well, because everything I've heard is it runs pretty well, except maybe like the visuals sometimes get a little muddy on PS5 specifically.
Yeah.
But if it's on Frostbite, then like, oops.
There we go. Frostbite, I guess.
I guess they got good with Frostbite, which is good, because
Yeah.
like that means that the overhead for the studio is going to be even lower because they won't have to license that out. Which
That's
is
true.
That's a big landfall for them money wise.
Yeah.
And that plus the success financially, like, I don't know. It's speaking to we're probably not going to see BioWare getting shut down soon. Hopefully, knock on wood.
Yeah. Good luck. Hear me. There we go. Good luck to them. Hey, I'm doing my part. I'm buying another copy that I'll be giving away.
I already bought my copy, even though I'm not going to be able to play it for however long it takes me to beat Metaphor.
I know, right? Well, I'm definitely getting into this tomorrow. Once I get off, I'm going to put a lot of time into it. But overnight, I'm going to be playing me some Metaphor off my ROG ally. Anyway, let's move to the last topic. This one is not going to be a long discussion because
no, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I don't know how else we can really go with this. So I don't really know. Like, oh yeah, it's Call of Duty, yeah, Call of Duty. So yeah.
God, here's the picture. I just found it. I'm gonna drop it in the chat for you.
Okay.
Of the Kunari comparison.
Oh yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Okay. Yeah, that's that person. Felix, yeah, that's the person. If you're still listening, that is Brute there. Yeah.
Okay. Crazy. Anyway.
So yeah, let me pull this up. Where is it? Okay, there we go.
I'm just looking at Starfield.
And there we go. It's posted by Tom Warren of The Verge. He says, Activision says Call of Duty Black Ops 6 set a new day one record and opening weekend records, making it the biggest Call of Duty 3-day opening weekend ever. It also had the highest total PC players during opening weekend in franchise history. And an official graphic from Activision says, thank you. Together, you made Black Ops 6 the biggest Call of Duty 3-day opening weekend ever. Number one total players, number one total hours played, number one total matches. So it's a W all around. He also speaks about Satya Nadella, saying that last week's launch of Black Ops 6 was the biggest Call of Duty release ever, setting a franchise record, etc., as well as Game Pass subscribers added on launch day. And it says the unit sales on PlayStation and Steam were up over 60% year over year. So it's no other way to slice it that this is a major W for Microsoft here and for Xbox, despite this game being in Game Pass. That's I think the biggest takeaway for me is that it's still selling crazy. That it's even though it's in Game Pass. So what's your takeaway from this? Because the narrative was, well, Game Pass is going to cannibalize all the sales. It's not going to do well, et cetera. It's not going to.
I think that's a ridiculous take that is born either from ignorance or fanboyism, or both, I guess. Because will it cannibalize sales to some degree? Probably. Yeah, like there's going to be people who will play it through Game Pass who would have otherwise purchased the game, right? Like that's absolutely going to happen. That being said, like they're still putting it on PlayStation where Game Pass does not exist. They're still putting it on PC where most people are probably just going to buy it through Steam anyway. Apparently they're still trying to bring it to Switch. I don't know if it's this one that's going to go over there, but like they've said that they're going to bring Call of Duty games to whatever Switch 2, I guess, probably when that comes out. So like they're going to sell a shitload there when that comes out. And then at the same time, it's like, also, this is a live service game. They don't make their money from
initial sales.
From the box sales. Like they make their money from microtransactions. Call of Duty is not different from like a Fortnite or an Overwatch or whatever. The only thing that's different about them is because they're such a huge name, they get to get away with also charging full price for it. They're the only guy who can do that, right? We just saw Concord completely die for a lot of reasons, but one of the larger ones because they weren't free to play, right? Call of Duty already has, they're king of the hill. They got the crown, right?
Yep.
If you want them to go free to play, someone's going to have to come and take that crown, and they can't do it because this is Call of Duty, right? So this is a game that is probably making more money off microtransactions than maybe any other live service game, save potentially Fortnite. And then on top of it, still also is selling itself to you for $70. Yeah, I don't think it should be that concerning to people about like even if it comes out, right? And it's like, oh, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 sold 5 million less copies than usual, which I don't think would happen. But even if that does happen, then what you need to understand is like, if we're really being fair to the market that this game is being launched into, what you need to look at is like the number of people playing this game and the amount of money being made by this game. Because if you can get more people playing the game and service those microtransactions to a larger number of people, especially a group of people who haven't spent money on the game, who are probably like, well, I didn't, I basically got this game for free. I can put $40 into microtransactions, and then that becomes a slippery slope where you spend $1,000 in whichever game you said you spent $1,000 in. Halo Infinite, right?
Halo Infinite. Yep.
That's crazy. It's one of those where like this is, I mean, we're already looking at the numbers. It's through the roof in terms of player base, and it's still selling incredibly well on all platforms where it sells. It's probably still selling really well on Xbox.
Yeah.
This Call of Duty is going to make, I guarantee it, I will give my knees to whoever wants them if this game makes less in revenue than any previous Call of Duty game. This will be the most money-making Call of Duty game. And probably largely because Game Pass is going to have so many more people going in there and then spending money on microtransactions. I would bet money. I would bet knees. Like this is I think truly, if you are looking at this and you're like, I don't know, I'm worried about it, then like you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
You're simply not looking at the reality around you.
Yeah. I would have to admit that even when myself, because my initial thought was that Microsoft might not put this into Game Pass, just because it sells so well, and they wouldn't want to stop that because they want to get that ROI back, right? They want to get that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all thought about that for sure.
Absolutely. But I think this right here alleviates any of the second guessing that they had, because apparently that behind the scenes there was a lot of debate about this and a lot of contention about, oh, should we put it on there, should we shouldn't, etc. But this right here, I think, solves that question for them right then and there. Clearly it's not being cannibalized by anything. It's, if anything, is adding more people to the service. Is going to continue giving you more money in the long run if they stick around, which a lot of the retention, I imagine, is fairly decent. So it's a win. It's a win-win.
I mean, there's a ton of people who play Call of Duty until next Call of Duty comes out.
So true. I don't know how they do it
for Call of Duty.
I don't know how they do it, but you got some diehards who love that game, man. I'm sorry. I tried. I tried for the multiplayer. I can't even do it.
It's like one of the biggest ongoing games ever.
It's true. You're right. Yeah, you're right. And I just don't know how. Like, it's not my type of game. Like campaign, yeah, I'll play the hell out of that, get through that. But the multiplayer, I just can't get my head around that properly. I start seeing people dolphin diving all over the place, and now they got the movement. The extra movement. I'm like, okay, this is not the game for me. But kudos to all those who are enjoying it. Clearly, they're doing right. I saw our brother Ice-T even spoke up on it and he gave it praise. Said he passed through the campaign and everything. I have to try out zombies. Have you ever tried out zombies for like the more recent ones?
I have not played. Well, okay, I've played zombies in more recent ones, but I've not played a lot of zombies since World at War. There was one in the middle there that I was like over at a friend's house and played a couple games on whichever one had the zombies map that was in space. It was like on the moon or something. I played that one and a couple other maps. There was one where it was like a gladiator pit. I don't know, dude. The easy answer is no, because not really.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for this one, I'm going to try to give it a shot, the zombies mode. It seems like you have to install like hundreds of gigabytes just to get one damn thing out of this game.
Yeah, man, that was the thing, right? Is I went to install it, and at first it was like 400 gigabytes, and I said, the fuck it is. And then I looked at it, and it was trying to install like 4 Call of Duty games. So, you know, PSA, public service announcement to anybody listening, whenever you're installing the Call of Duty launcher or whatever the hell onto your Xbox, just go in and uncheck like whichever 5 Call of Duty games you don't want to play, because that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. So look, we will not dwell on this too long. By the way, there was an I don't know if did we get a sub earlier, or was it just somebody that subscribed? Let me see something.
Couldn't tell you. We did just get a super chat. That's the only thing I've seen.
Okay, no, it wasn't one earlier. It was just somebody, I think, subscribing. So whoever subscribed earlier, thank you. Let me read this from Spartan, and then because it's that time about now for us.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Spartan says, "Let's go. You guys are awesome. I hope everyone is doing well. Keep up the good work. All of us enjoy the content. Thank you, brother. We appreciate it." Oh, speaking of that, Danny, I got to talk to you about that to settle some things with you.
Oh no.
It's positive though. It's all positive.
Oh, okay.
It's all
I'm
positive.
getting grounded. That's what I felt like.
It's all
Although I was
positive.
like,
It's all positive.
okay.
You know what? By the way, I've said this before, and I do want to mention this to you guys in the chat since you're here. I do want to open up subs for the channel because, excuse me, I noticed a lot of other people. With
you mean the like members thing?
Members? I'm sorry, the memberships.
Yeah. I was like, we got subs.
I meant to say, I'm sorry. I meant to say memberships because I don't want it to sound shallow because I do want to give you guys like extra content for for that membership. So I'm definitely still going to look for ways to add to it when it comes to that. I'm contemplating doing this kind of a review roundtable myself, Black Viking and Lucius for Metaphor ReFantazio. We're going to do a very unique roundtable review of the game. Probably a spoiler field. So,
I might have to miss that one because I think it's going to be a minute for a finish.
Oh yeah, but we're planning on doing that. We'll see how we want to approach it. But I do want to like turn on memberships because there's other channels I've noticed that are doing that. And it's like, they're not giving you all anything. And you all are subscribing and buying subscriptions and memberships for people. I'm like, wow, we could have been doing that if that's the case. And I don't want it to sound greedy or anything, but that could help a lot when it comes to giving away games to the community and stuff like that. You know, shout out again to Felix, who has helped out. Like, this is the third time. No, this is the second time Felix has done this. The third game, if you will, because there's 2 games here. It was one last time that I gave away on Twitter. And we love to give back, and having memberships like that would definitely help when it comes to that type of thing. Also too, just like in improving the setup for technological things that we might want to do as far as finally transitioning to camera, things of that nature. Not that I can't afford to buy a camera, but getting the place set up properly and everything like that the way I want before I get on. So things of that nature. If you guys would be inclined to join as a member, would definitely appreciate it. I think I will call you guys the Fixers.
The Fixers.
The Fixers. Yeah.
I love that.
So listen, we're going to do this last spin, and then we're going to do our little outros, and we'll get out of here. That's one thing I do have to do. I have to remove Brute from the
I mean, it's pretty unlikely it's going to land on it twice, I guess. But
wouldn't that be hilarious? Wouldn't it be?
Give it both.
It would be.
Who the second
You
one
won,
goes to.
Brute, right? Let me see. Let me remove his name and then
Leave him on there. If he wins, I get it. I'm just kidding.
let me see if I can find his name. Can I search it? I'll have to find it. Give me 1 second.
I was gonna look up to see if Dragon Age was still beating Call of Duty, but I cannot find on Steam where they showed like most sold.
Where you at? Where? Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, erased. Okay, so there we go, guys. This is the final spin for today's show.
Oh, here we go.
What's that? You found something?
Yeah, sorry, I found how to look at what's selling best on Steam right now.
Oh.
Veilguard is still beating Black Ops 6,
Nice.
but not by a lot.
Yeah, that won't last for too long.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. Black John, are you loving it? Okay, yeah, he's loving his metaphor. Somewhat taking your time. Now, listen, John, what I had used, shout out to Lucius, he gave me a Power Picks walkthrough, which you might want to use too, Danny. That helped tremendously because I got most of the achievements by using their walkthrough for it.
Oh, yeah.
They don't spoil anything for you. They just, just kind of lead you to what you need to do.
Are there like collectibles or something?
Yeah, well, not collectibles, but there are like things you got to do, like building up your bonds with your characters. They give you the best way to kind of do all that. Yeah, so stuff like that. And
I'm a Persona veteran. I think I can figure it out.
Okay, hey,
I'm just kidding. I'll probably look at it.
I'm not the greatest at JRPG, so I needed all that help, and it worked perfectly for me. And I had right now I have 36 out of the 44 achievements following that guide. So, but yeah, all right, guys, this is the final spin of the night. Good luck to everybody. And again, I will be giving away a game I'm going to purchase myself for Dragon Age, the Veilguard tomorrow night.
The screen is still showing Starfield.
Is it? Oh crap! I forgot to switch. I'm glad you said that. There we go. All right, guys. Fingers crossed. Good luck to everybody. Final spin of the night. Look at it go.
It's gonna go for so long. It does one rotation for every name on the list.
All right. Let's see. Reptile. 359. Fight. Congratulations, Reptile. And this is what's cool about this, and this is how you guys know that this is random. There is no trickery. I don't know Reptile or Brute, but congratulations to you both. So Reptile 359. I don't know if you're watching right now. I'm sure Felix is contacting both of you guys right now, and if not, I'll definitely reach out to you and make sure we stay in touch until we can get that taken care of for you guys. Congratulations to you both. Felix had pointed out that, it felt the way they did because it was so many people that entered into this. And it kind of like impressed on me that clearly it's not a matter of people not wanting to play Dragon Age, because that's the narrative you kind of get, like, oh, we don't want to play this game. No.
Oh yeah, no, it's selling like crazy. So.
Yeah, a lot of people want to play this game. I think it's just the economics of what's going on in this world right now. Not everybody can afford to play this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've bought frankly too many games this month.
Yep.
So I think I've bought like 4 or 5 games in this month at like full price.
Yeah.
So it's like, because I'm not gonna finish the ones that I've bought for a while.
Yeah. So
I probably should have waited and seen if they went on sale.
What I'm going to make it my business for all of you who were here tonight and did not win, I will be giving a game away again tomorrow. I'll be giving away a copy tomorrow night on the Infinite podcast. So if you now, the only ones disqualified, of course, is Reptile and Brute. But anybody else, I will leave you on this wheel here. So you will get a third chance tomorrow night. That's how I'll do it. And I'll spin, and if you win, you got one more chance. And if I feel so inclined, I might just do one more giveaway just for the end of the month of next month, should I say? Because this is it. This is the end of the month. So
yeah.
So
we got like 2 hours.
So a
left
few
of this
hours,
month.
right? So if I'm flush enough where I've taken care of financials and stuff for business and things I need to take care of, I will give one more away. So that'll be 2 games I'll give to match Felix, and the generous gift to Felix. Thank you, Felix, again. And Felix said they're on it right now. Okay, so appreciate you. Yeah, I'm sorry for those who did not win necessarily, but do not be down because, again, you are still in a drawing for a win tomorrow. Tomorrow night on the Infinite podcast. Try to come by. It's at 8 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, to be exact. And if you cannot, even if you don't tune in, if you can't, I will be sure to reach out to you through DM if you win. So good luck to everybody still. Don't lose hope. Don't be down in the dumps. I appreciate you, Felix. As it said, I'll match you as well. Appreciate that. So if you need more people like that, all love to you. But folks, yeah, we're gonna get out of here. It's that time. Got things to do. I got my mouth to heal. Pause from this this oral surgery. Pause again. Yeah. So, Danny, tell the good folks where they can find you and what you will be up to.
Yeah. So you can find me, of course, on Twitter at Daniel J. McG, or at my personal YouTube channel of Daniel McG. I guess I'll be finishing that Call of Duty campaign. Oh, and actually, you can find me. I got invited onto I'm only going to be there for a little while, but onto the Brown Boy Wonders podcast.
Oh, wow.
It's run by a friend of mine from high school who I didn't know how to podcast.
Okay.
But he reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, I do rewatches of TV shows, and I hear you're into Survivor, so we're doing a rewatch series of the first season of Survivor."
Oh, that's perfect for you.
So if anyone has any interest in that, you can find him. He's not on YouTube, but you can find him on all of the podcast services like Spotify, Apple, all that shit.
Nice.
So I am only on like the Survivor episodes and like 1 or 2 others that I've just like randomly been on the last week. But it's been a lot of fun. So I don't know. Come on over.
Are you still thinking maybe remember the idea I was floating with you and your friend to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are doing that. I don't have really any news about it at the moment. But I have reached out to some people on Fiverr to get some like music and art put together. But yes, I will be starting a retro video game replay podcast with my friend Skylar.
Very nice.
So I don't know when that's going to start. Probably early next year, if I had to guess.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Very nice. You know, it's funny. I was just on Fiverr yesterday.
Yeah.
How coincidental? Because I'm looking to get a professional demo reel put together for my voice acting.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, man. I finally, because shout out to Lucius. He's like, get on it. Like, you know, so shout out to actual people who will motivate you to do it. Because I'm kind of a slacker. I'll like, if I'm not being motivated to do it, I'll be like, I'll do it next time. And so he's like, yo, get on it. And he's posting like tweets, whatever, from people seeking voice actors. And I know I can do that. So I just got to get a demo reel put together. They asked for a demo reel. Now I can do one myself, but I want to get a professional one done that I can shop around to other major publishers and things like that. So I would love to do that. And I talked to a guy yesterday, and I'm going to talk to someone else to see, because they're going to actually help with the script writing and all that, and to put it together and then combine the clips as they need to. So yeah, definitely going to do that. If anything, by the end of this year, I'll probably have a professional demo reel done So yeah, but yeah, man. All that sounds good for you for sure. Excited to see that happen and come together. Definitely keep us posted. As for myself, you guys can find me on Twitter, X, and Blue Sky, and all these other things. Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. Tuesdays on the Xbox Factor with Boom and Jamie Moran. Typically, I missed the past weeks now because of my tooth, which I finally got out of here. And of course, Thursdays, myself and Danny here, 8 o'clock Eastern on Thursdays. Tomorrow night, the Infinite Podcast again. For those who did not win tonight, come by tomorrow. And you know, I won't drag it on and try to keep you all there forever, but I'll definitely have you get a little bit of your time before I give it away. But I definitely wish you all luck for that. We appreciate you guys coming through and spending some time with us. I know that some of you feel let down, but don't despair. And we'll be giving more away in the future. So don't, you might not get this, but you'll get something eventually. I'll figure out something to try to be more giving when it comes to that. Especially if you guys are on Steam, because I got a lot of different Steam codes and stuff like that too that I'm not going to use. So just stay posted and pay attention to my timeline. I'll definitely give more away. What was I going to say? Salutations now.
Oh.
We'll get out of here. You guys have a great night and happy Halloween. Later, guys.